The research ship Luminous Dawn floated in the darkness of space, broken and dying. Inside the bridge, Ambassador Telrix held onto his chair as another explosion shook the vessel. His blue skin flickered with patterns of fear. Around him, his crew worked desperately at their stations, but everyone knew the truth. They were losing. The Crovasian pirates had come out of nowhere. Their 12 warships surrounded the small research vessel like predators circling wounded prey. The first attack had destroyed the engines. The second had torn apart the weapons. Now the pirates were taking their time, cutting through the hull piece by piece. Telrix looked at his science officer, Vrenna. Her antennae were flat against her head, a sign of deep worry. "Send out a distress signal," he ordered. "Send it to anyone who can hear us. Include everything. Our location, the number of enemy ships, everything." Vrenna's fingers moved across her console. Then she stopped. Her large eyes turned to Telrix. "Ambassador, the only ships close enough to help are in the Sol system." A cold silence fell across the bridge. Every member of the crew knew about the Sol system. That was where the humans lived. The Deathworlders, the species that came from a planet so dangerous that it had turned them into something the galaxy had never seen before. Humans had been allowed into the Galactic Assembly only 3 years ago. Most species avoided them. There were too many stories. Stories about their violence. Stories about their strange emotions. Stories about what happened to their enemies. But Telrix was out of options. He could send the signal to the humans and hope they would help. Or he could wait for the pirates to break through and kill everyone on his ship. "Send it," Telrix said quietly. "Send the signal to the humans." Vrenna pressed the button. The message shot out across space, traveling faster than light, carrying a simple message. "Help us, please, we are dying." 3 hours passed. The pirates kept cutting through the hull. Telrix could hear their machines grinding against the metal. Soon they would break through. Soon his crew would face the pirates directly. None of them were fighters. They were scientists and diplomats. They would not survive. Then Vrenna gasped. "Ambassador, we have a response." "From the humans?" Telrix asked. "Yes, sir." Telrix felt his 2 hearts beating fast. "Put it on speaker." A voice filled the bridge. It was calm. Too calm for someone who had just received a distress call. "Luminous Dawn, this is Captain Jake Harrison of the Earth Defense Fleet. I command the ship Thunderstrike and 6 other vessels. We received your message. We are coming to help you. Hold on. We will be there soon." The communication ended. Telrix stared at the empty screen. The humans were coming. He did not know if that was good or bad. But at least they were coming. The hours that followed were the longest of Telrix's life. The pirates continued their work. The crew of the Luminous Dawn waited. Some prayed to their gods. Others sat quietly, preparing for whatever would come next. Then, without warning, alarms began to sound on the pirate ships. Telrix could hear shouting through the hull. The grinding machines stopped. The pirates were talking to each other in their harsh language, voices filled with confusion and something else. Fear. "What is happening?" Telrix asked. Vrenna checked her sensors. Her antennae shot straight up. Ships, 7 of them. They just appeared out of faster-than-light travel. "Right on top of us, the humans," Telrix whispered. On the lead pirate ship, Commander Jacques stared at his screens. 7 human vessels had just arrived. They were smaller than his warships. Their designs looked simple, almost primitive. He smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "All ships," he ordered. "Prepare to attack. These humans do not know what they are facing." His communication officer spoke up. "Sir, the humans are sending a message." "Put it on screen," Jacques said. A human face appeared. The man looked young. He had blue eyes and short hair. His expression was neutral, almost bored. "Crovasian vessels, this is Captain Jake Harrison. You are attacking a ship that belongs to the Galactic Assembly. Stop your attack immediately. Release the crew. Surrender your ships. You have 2 minutes to comply." Jacques laughed. It was a harsh, ugly sound. "Or what, human? Your 7 little ships against my 12? I think not. Turn around and leave. Maybe I will let you live." The human captain's face did not change. He did not look angry or scared. He just looked at Jacques like he was looking at something boring. "I gave you 2 minutes. I suggest you use them. Harrison out." The screen went dark. Jacques turned to his crew. "All ships, attack formation. Let us show these Deathworlders what real warriors look like." What happened next would change everything. The human ships moved like nothing Jacques had ever seen. They were fast. Impossibly fast. They twisted and turned through space like they were dancing. Their movements were perfect. Every ship knew exactly where the others would be. The human weapons opened fire. Jacques watched in horror as the nearest pirate cruiser exploded. Just like that. One moment it was there. The next moment it was debris. Evasive maneuvers, Jacques screamed. But his ships were too slow. The humans moved around them like they were standing still. Their weapons fired again and again. Each shot hit exactly where it needed to. Engines exploded. Weapons melted. Life support systems failed. Within minutes, half of Jacques' fleet was destroyed or floating dead in space. The pirates tried to fight back, but it was useless. The humans were everywhere at once. They were too fast, too precise, too deadly. Retreat, Jacques finally ordered. All ships, retreat! The remaining pirate ships turned and ran. The humans chased them, destroying 2 more before they let the others escape into faster-than-light travel. Then the human ships returned to the luminous dawn. They surrounded it, protecting it. A small transport vessel approached and docked with the damaged research ship. Telrix and his crew waited on the bridge. They had watched the entire battle on their sensors. They had seen the humans destroy the pirates like they were nothing. Now they would meet these Deathworlders face to face. The airlock opened. Human soldiers entered, wearing armor and carrying weapons. But they moved carefully, slowly. They did not point their weapons at anyone. The leader of the group took off her helmet. She was a woman with dark hair and kind eyes. She smiled. Ambassador Telrix? I am Commander Lisa Porter. You are safe now. Let us get you and your crew patched up. Telrix stared at her. This woman had just watched her people destroy 8 ships and kill thousands. But now she was smiling at him. Being gentle. Offering help. Thank you, Commander, Telrix managed to say. You saved our lives. Lisa's smile faded a little. Her eyes became harder. You sent out a distress call, Ambassador. Someone hurt you while you were asking for help. We do not accept that. Where we come from, when someone calls for help, you answer. Always. As the human teams moved through the ship, helping the wounded and fixing broken systems, Telrix realized something. The galaxy had made a mistake about the humans. They were dangerous, yes. They could kill with terrible efficiency. But they also cared. They protected. They helped. And that combination, Telrix thought, was more frightening than simple violence could ever be. The humans were not just warriors. They were guardians. And the galaxy was going to have to adjust to that reality. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Assembly happened fast. Within hours of the battle, representatives from 300 different species gathered in the grand chamber on the neutral world of Centerpoint. The massive room buzzed with worried conversations. Everyone was talking about the same thing. The humans. What they had done. What it meant. High Chancellor Morvan stood at the center platform. He was a Zenthari, tall and covered in silver scales. He had served the Assembly for over 200 years. He had seen many crises, but this one was different. We are here to discuss the human intervention in the Outer Reach sector, Morvan announced. His voice echoed through the chamber. Ambassador Telrix of the Valerian Council will speak first. Telrix stood up. His blue skin still showed stress patterns from his ordeal. Honored Chancellor, members of the Assembly, I owe my life to the humans. My crew owes their lives to the humans. When pirates attacked us, we sent a distress call. The humans answered. They saved us. And killed 3,000 beings in the process, interrupted Council Member Parvesh. He was a Thren, an insect-like species with compound eyes and a sharp mind. This is exactly what we feared when we allowed Deathworlders into the Assembly. Violence. Destruction. The Kravasians were pirates, Telrix said firmly. They have raided peaceful ships for years. They were killing us. The humans stopped them. With weapons we did not know they had, Parvesh insisted. With tactics that suggest they are far more militarized than they told us. How many other secrets are the humans keeping? How can we trust them? The chamber erupted. Some species agreed with Parvesh. Others defended the humans. The Kravasian Empire, trying to look innocent, demanded compensation for the destroyed ships even though everyone knew those ships had been acting as pirates. The arguments went on for hours. Then the doors opened. A human entered the chamber. He walked with confidence but not arrogance. His hair was gray at the sides. His face showed years of experience. His uniform was simple but clean. This was Admiral Nathan Cooper, the first human military officer to address the full assembly. "Honored Chancellor," Nathan said. "May I speak?" Morven nodded. "The assembly recognizes Admiral Cooper of Earth." Nathan walked to the center of the chamber. He looked around at all the different species. Beings with scales, fur, feathers, shells, beings who breathed different gases and saw different colors, all of them watching him. "I understand your concern," Nathan began. "You invited humanity into the assembly thinking you understood us. Then we showed you something that scared you. Good. You should be scared." A wave of alarm went through the crowd, but Nathan continued. "Not because we want to hurt you, but because you need to understand what you are dealing with. Earth is not like your worlds. Our planet tried to kill us every single day. Predators hunted us. Diseases attacked us. The weather tried to freeze us or burn us or blow us away. Earthquakes, volcanoes, hurricanes. Our own planet was our enemy, and we survived." He activated a hologram showing Earth. The planet rotated slowly, beautiful and deadly. "This is our world. The gravity is stronger than what most of you are comfortable with. The atmospheric pressure would make many of you sick. The weather systems can destroy cities. The tectonic plates constantly shift and cause disasters. The oceans are filled with creatures that want to eat us. This is where we come from," Nathan paused. "But here is what you need to understand. We did not just learn how to fight. We learned how to protect. In every human culture, in every human story, there are heroes who stand between the innocent and danger. We learned that the strong must defend the weak. That is not a weakness. That is our greatest strength." He turned to face Parvesh directly. "You are worried because we have weapons you did not know about? Good. Pirates and raiders should be worried. You are concerned because we responded to a distress call with force? We did exactly what we promised when we joined the assembly. We protected one of our members. Ambassador Telrix is not human," Parvesh pointed out. "No," Nathan agreed, "but he is a member of this assembly. When you join the assembly, you promise to honor the laws and defend the peace. When someone attacks a member, they attack all of us. That is what membership means to humanity." Chancellor Morven leaned forward. "Admiral, we appreciate the human response, but many here are concerned about the level of force. Could you have resolved the situation with less violence?" Nathan was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was softer but no less firm. "We offered them a chance to surrender. They chose to fight. Yes, we could have tried to disable their ships without destroying them. We could have prolonged the battle. But every second we spent being gentle, Ambassador Telrix and his crew were in danger. Every moment we hesitated, more Valerians could have died. So we ended it quickly." He looked around the chamber again. "I know this makes you uncomfortable. You have built a civilization on diplomacy and discussion. That is admirable. But there are beings in this galaxy who do not respect your words. They only respect power. Now they know that if they attack any member of this assembly, they will face humanity. Not because we want war, but because we refuse to let good people suffer when we can stop it." The chamber was silent. No one spoke. Finally, Morvan cleared his throat. "The assembly will consider your words, Admiral. For now, we rule that the human action was legitimate defense of an allied vessel. However, we will establish a committee to review human military capabilities." Nathan nodded. "We welcome that, Chancellor. But let me be clear. Our weapons exist to protect. We will not apologize for being good at survival." As the meeting ended and representatives began to leave, Telrix approached Nathan. "Thank you, Admiral, for saving us, for defending what you did here today." Nathan smiled. The hard edge in his eyes softened. "You sent out a distress call, Ambassador. Where humans come from, that is sacred. Someone calls for help, you answer, no matter what." Telrix watched the Admiral leave. He felt grateful. The humans had saved him, but he also felt a growing fear. The galaxy had just seen what humans could do when they defended someone who asked for help. What would happen if someone actually attacked humanity directly? What would the humans do then? Telrix suspected the galaxy was not ready for that answer. He hoped they would never have to find out. Over the next few days, the news spread across the galaxy. The humans had revealed their power. They had destroyed pirates who had operated freely for years. They had shown weapons and tactics that no one knew they possessed. Some species celebrated, others worried. But everyone understood one thing: humanity was not weak. They were not simple. They were Deathworlders in every sense of the word. And they had just announced to the galaxy that they would protect the assembly. On Earth, Captain Jake Harrison sat in a quiet cafe, drinking coffee and reading reports. His crew had been given a week of leave after the rescue mission. He was trying to relax, but his mind kept going back to the battle, to the ships they had destroyed, to the lives they had taken. A message came through on his communicator. It was from Admiral Cooper. "Good work out there, Captain. You and your crew acted with honor. The assembly is safer because of what you did. Take your leave. You earned it." Jake smiled slightly. He put down his communicator and looked out the window. Earth looked peaceful. The sky was blue. People walked by, going about their normal lives. They did not know about the battle in the Outer Reach sector. They did not know that their fleet had just changed galactic politics. Maybe that was for the best. Humans had always been protectors. They had always stood up for those who needed help. Now they were doing it on a galactic scale. The only difference was the size of the fight. Jake finished his coffee and stood up. He had a week to rest. Then he would go back to his ship, back to his crew, back to protecting those who needed protection, because that was what humans did. That was what they had always done. And now the galaxy knew it too. 3 weeks after the rescue of the Luminous Dawn, the Kravasian Empire made a terrible decision. On their fortress world of Krav Prime, War Leader Tharn sat in the War Council chamber. His face was twisted with anger. His battle scars seemed to glow under the harsh lights. "The humans embarrassed us," Tharn growled. "They destroyed our ships. They made us look weak in front of the entire galaxy. This cannot stand. We must respond." His intelligence officer, Cross, activated the tactical displays. Images of human ships and bases appeared in the air. The humans only have 15 military vessels in deep space. They are spread across 3 sectors. Their homeworld Earth has some orbital defenses, but our analysts believe we can overwhelm them with a concentrated attack. One of the council members shifted nervously. "You want to attack their homeworld? Is that wise?" "I want to teach them the price of interfering with Kravasian business," Tharn said. His voice was cold and hard. "We will strike fast, destroy their orbital stations, then withdraw before their scattered fleet can respond. It will show the galaxy that humans are not as dangerous as they pretend." The council agreed. The Kravasian Empire began gathering its forces. Over 100 warships assembled in secret. They prepared weapons. They studied the approaches to Earth. They planned their attack carefully. What Tharn did not know was that humans had prepared for this exact situation. They called it Protocol Omega. It was a defense plan created years ago when humans first realized how vulnerable a single planet could be in a hostile galaxy. The plan was simple. If anyone threatened Earth, if anyone dared to attack the human homeworld, they would face the full might of humanity. The Kravasian fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system. 107 warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. They began moving toward Earth, confident in their numbers and firepower. Then their sensors started screaming warnings. Energy signatures appeared throughout the solar system. Massive ones. Ship signatures. Lots of them. War Leader Tharn stared at his screens in disbelief. Human ships were appearing everywhere. Not 15 ships, not 50. Hundreds of them. They had been hiding, waiting, behind moons, inside asteroid fields, in the shadow of planets. The entire Sol system had been a trap. A voice came over the open communication channels. It was Admiral Nathan Cooper. His voice was calm but colder than space itself. "Kravasian fleet, you have entered the Sol system with hostile intent. You are approaching Earth, the human homeworld. I am going to give you one chance. One. Turn around and leave now." Tharn tried to sound confident. "You are outnumbered, human. We have come to teach you respect." "No," Nathan replied. "You have come to learn why you never threaten a Deathworlder's home. All human ships execute Protocol Omega. Show them what it means to attack Earth." The human fleet moved as one massive force. They were not holding back this time. They were not trying to capture ships or minimize damage. They were defending their home, their families, their children. And they fought like demons. The orbital defenses around Earth came online. Weapons platforms that had looked like simple satellites revealed their true nature. The Moon opened hidden missile batteries. Mars released entire squadrons of fighter craft from underground hangars. But it was the capital ships that truly terrified the Kravasians. The Thunderstrike was there, leading a group of destroyers. but it was joined by massive dreadnoughts that the Crevasians had never seen before. Ships 3 times larger than anything in the Crevasian fleet. Ships with names like Defiant, Resolute, and the biggest of all, Indomitable. Captain Jake Harrison commanded a wing of 12 destroyers. They hit the Crevasian left flank like a hammer. His ships moved with perfect coordination, their weapons firing in sequence to maximize damage. Within minutes, the left flank was in chaos. Commander Lisa Porter led boarding teams that captured 3 Crevasian vessels in the first hour. Her Marines moved through enemy ships like ghosts, taking control of critical systems before the Crevasians could react. And through it all, Admiral Nathan Cooper commanded from the bridge of the Indomitable. He coordinated hundreds of ships with calm efficiency. He had planned for this scenario. He had prepared for it. And now he was executing the plan perfectly. The Crevasians fought bravely. They were experienced warriors. But they were completely unprepared for what they faced. These were not soldiers fighting for territory. These were parents defending their children. These were citizens protecting their home. These were survivors of a death world showing why they had earned that title. The battle lasted 4 hours. By the end, 47 Crevasian ships were destroyed. 32 were captured. The rest were fleeing in complete disarray, their formation broken, their confidence shattered. War leader Tharn sat on the bridge of his flagship. The ship was crippled. Fires burned in 3 sections. Half his crew was dead or wounded. Human ships surrounded him. He had nowhere to go. Admiral Cooper's face appeared on his view screen. War leader Tharn, you attacked Earth. You threatened billions of human lives. You wanted to teach us respect. Nathan's face was hard as stone. Consider this your lesson. Surrender your ship now. You will stand trial for this act of war. Tharn's hands shook as he shut down his weapons. Around Earth, the captured Crevasian crews were being processed. Human guards treated them professionally, but every Crevasian could see the barely controlled fury in the humans' eyes. They had attacked Earth. They had threatened human families. The humans would not forget that. In the days after the battle, the galaxy watched in stunned silence. The humans had revealed that their military was 5 times larger than anyone suspected. They had hidden an entire fleet in their own solar system. They had been prepared for someone to attack their home, and they had crushed that attack with overwhelming force. Then Admiral Nathan Cooper made a broadcast. It was sent to every species in the galaxy, every government, every military. Everyone would hear his words. Nathan stood on the bridge of the Indomitable. Earth floated in the view screen behind him, blue and beautiful and safe. To all species in the Galactic Assembly and to those outside it. Today the Crevasian Empire attacked Earth. They came to our home with over 100 warships. They came to kill our families and destroy our world. They wanted to prove that humanity was weak. They learned otherwise. He paused. Behind him, the captured Crevasian ships drifted in organized rows. Let me be clear about what happened here. We defended ourselves. We fought with honor. We gave quarter to those who surrendered. We took prisoners according to galactic law. But we also showed that attacking humanity, especially our homeworld, is a mistake you only make once. Some of you are wondering about our military strength. You are concerned about the ships we kept hidden. I understand that. But here's what you need to understand about humans. We hope for peace. We truly do. But we prepare for war. We extend friendship. But we never forget that the universe is dangerous. We are Deathworlders. We will never apologize for being good at survival. Nathan's expression softened slightly. But we also remember our friends. Ambassador Telrix called for help and we answered. Any member of the Assembly, any peaceful species who needs aid can count on humanity. We will stand between you and danger, not because we seek glory, but because honor demands it. To those who would threaten the Assembly or threaten any innocent beings, you now know what awaits you. Humanity is not your enemy unless you make us one. But if you do, you will learn why Earth did not break us. You will learn why a planet that tried to kill us every day only made us stronger. He leaned forward. His final words rang with absolute certainty. You wanted to know what happens when you threaten a Deathworlder's home. Now you know. Do not make that mistake again. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, species watched and understood. The humans were not bluffing. They were not posturing. They had the strength to back up their words. And they had the will to use it when necessary. On Earth, Jake Harrison sat with his wife Amy in their backyard. Their daughter played nearby, laughing and chasing butterflies. She did not know about the battle. She did not know that her father had helped defend their world from invasion. "You did good out there," Amy said softly. "You protected us. All of us." Jake watched his daughter play. "I just did my job." "We all did." "No," Amy said. "You did more than that. You showed the galaxy what humans are capable of when we defend what we love." Jake nodded slowly. His daughter ran over holding a flower. She gave it to him with a bright smile. He smiled back, taking the flower carefully. This was why they fought. This was why they trained and prepared and stayed vigilant. For moments like this. For innocence and laughter and flowers given by small hands. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Earth was protected, and humanity had shown that they would do whatever it took to keep it that way. 6 months after the Battle of Sol, the Galactic Assembly looked different. The great chamber on Centerpoint was filled again, but this time the mood was not fear or anger. It was something else. Hope, perhaps, or at least the beginning of it. High Chancellor Morvan called the session to order. "We are here to discuss a proposal from Earth. A proposal for a mutual defense organization within the Assembly. Admiral Cooper, Ambassador Watson, the floor is yours." Nathan stood alongside Ambassador Claire Watson. Claire was a sharp woman who had spent the last 6 months in constant negotiations with dozens of species. She had worked day and night to build support for this moment. "Thank you, Chancellor," Claire began. "The events of recent months have shown us that the galaxy faces threats no single species can handle alone. Pirates, raiders, hostile empires that operate outside Assembly law. These dangers require a coordinated response from all of us working together." She activated a holographic display. It showed a new organizational structure. Ships from different species working together. Command centers. Communication networks. "We propose the formation of the Assembly Defense Coalition. Each member species would contribute according to their abilities. Ships, personnel, resources. The coalition would respond to threats against any member. It would coordinate rescue operations. It would maintain security throughout Assembly space." Representative Shiva, a thoughtful Dranthi with green scales, raised a hand. "And who would command this coalition? Surely not humanity alone?" "Absolutely not," Nathan said firmly. "The coalition would have a rotating command structure. Representatives from multiple species would share leadership. Humans would contribute our tactical knowledge and a large portion of the initial fleet, but this would be a truly joint operation. No single species would control it." Ambassador Telric stood up. "The Valerian Council supports this proposal completely. We have seen human honor firsthand. They risked everything to save us. They fought to defend their home when attacked. If we are to have defenders, I cannot think of better allies to stand beside." For hours, representatives spoke. Some remained skeptical of human power. They worried about costs. They worried about military oversight. They worried about giving up some independence. But slowly the mood in the chamber shifted. Then Council Member Parvesh stood up. The Thren who had most strongly opposed humanity in the past. Everyone fell silent, waiting to hear what he would say. "I will not pretend I trust humans completely," Parvesh began. His compound eyes reflected the lights. "They are fierce. Their capacity for violence still concerns me. I worry about their power," he paused. "But I have studied Earth's history. I have learned something important about humanity." He turned to face Nathan and Claire. "Humans do not just fight. You build. Every time your species has faced darkness, you have created light. You have turned enemies into friends. You have built alliances from ashes. And most importantly, you keep your promises." "The humans promised to defend the Assembly," Parvesh continued. "They have done that. They promised to operate within our laws. Even when attacked, they showed restraint with prisoners. They honored the conventions of war. I do not fully trust their power, but I trust their honor. The Thren Collective will support this proposal." The vote was called. When the count finished, over 80% of the Assembly had voted yes. The Assembly Defense Coalition would become reality. After the session, Claire stood with Nathan on an observation deck. They watched the various diplomatic vessels moving around Centerpoint in their orbital patterns. "We did it," Claire said quietly. "We went from newcomers to co-founders of the galaxy's defense force in less than a year." Nathan nodded. His expression was thoughtful. "We did what we had to do. Earth is safer now. The Assembly is safer. But Claire, we have also taken on enormous responsibility. Every species in the coalition will look to us for guidance and leadership." "That is why we must be careful," Claire agreed. "We cannot let them see us as conquerors. We have to be partners. Protectors, not rulers. Wise words, Ambassador Watson. They turned to find Ambassador Telrix approaching. His bioluminescent skin showed patterns of contentment. I wanted to thank you both, personally. You already thanked us, Ambassador, Nathan said with a smile. Several times. Not for the rescue, Telrix said. For showing us what we could be. The Assembly has existed for thousands of years, but we have been passive. We talked while pirates raided. We negotiated while innocent beings suffered. You humans showed us that talking is not always enough. Sometimes you have to act. You have to fight. You have to stand up. He looked out at the stars. My people analyzed the recordings from the Battle of Sol. Do you know what impressed us most? Not your weapons, not your tactics. It was how your ships maintained formation under fire. How your Marines treated wounded Crevasian prisoners with the same care as your own injured. How Admiral Cooper offered surrender terms even when he had overwhelming advantage. You fought like Deathworlders, Telrix said, but you acted like the best civilization we have ever encountered. That is what the galaxy needed to see. That strength and honor can exist together. 3 months later, the first joint coalition fleet began its maiden patrol, 30 ships from 15 different species. A Valerian admiral commanded with a human tactical officer and a Thren security chief. The crew was mixed. Every shift had members from multiple species working side by side. They stopped 2 pirate attacks in their first week. They rescued a merchant convoy in their second week. They provided disaster relief after a solar flare damaged a mining colony in their third week. The coalition was working. Species that had never cooperated before were now defending each other. Back on Earth, Jake Harrison stood in his garden. His daughter played nearby. His wife Amy joined him, taking his hand. Thinking about the fleet, she asked. Always, Jake admitted. I keep wondering if we did the right thing. We revealed our strength. We fought a war. We changed everything. You answered a distress call, Amy reminded him. Everything else followed from that one choice. And from what I see, you helped build something good. Jake pulled up a news report on his tablet. It showed the coalition fleet working with Dranthi engineers to rebuild a damaged station. Humans, Valerians, Thren, Dranthi all working together. Maybe you are right. I just hope we can live up to what they expect from us. You will, Amy said with confidence, because that is what humans do. We protect, we build, we keep our promises. On the indomitable, Admiral Nathan Cooper prepared a message for all coalition vessels. He stood on the bridge, looking at the camera that would broadcast his words to thousands of beings across dozens of species. To all members of the Assembly Defense Coalition, we stand at the beginning of something new. Not human dominance, but true cooperation. Each of our species brings unique strengths. The Valerians bring knowledge and wisdom. The Thren bring precision and logic. The Dranthi bring creativity and innovation. And humanity brings our experience surviving a world that tried to kill us. Together we are stronger than any threat. Together we can build a galaxy where distress calls are always answered. Where the weak are protected. Where peace is more than just a word in treaties. Some call us Deathworlders. They are right. But being from a death world does not just mean we know how to fight. It means we know how to survive, how to adapt, how to protect what matters. And now what matters is every single being in the Assembly. To all ships, all crews, all species in the Coalition. Welcome to the fleet. Let us show the galaxy what we can do together. Cooper out. As the message ended, a young Thren communications officer turned to her human counterpart. His name was Chris. He was young, fresh from training, but he worked hard and treated everyone with respect. Do you really believe we can do this? The Thren asked. Build something that lasts? Chris smiled. My grandmother used to tell me a story about how humanity built the first space stations when we could barely leave our planet. Everyone said it was impossible, but we did it anyway. Because that is what humans do. We build impossible things, and now? The Thren asked. Now we are not alone, Chris said. We have got 300 species worth of impossible to work with. I think we are going to be just fine. Across the galaxy, the news spread. The humans had become protectors. They had answered a distress call. They had fought a war. They had built a coalition that might finally bring lasting peace to the stars. And on 1,000 worlds, 1,000 species looked up at the night sky and felt just a little bit safer. They knew that if they ever needed help, someone would answer. Someone who kept their promises. Someone who knew how to fight but chose to protect. Someone called human. 2 years after the formation of the Assembly Defense Coalition, the galaxy had changed in ways no one had expected. The grand meeting hall on Centerpoint was filled with representatives once again, but this time they gathered not for crisis management, but for celebration. High Chancellor Morvan stood at the center platform. His silver scales gleamed under the lights. We gather today to mark the 2nd anniversary of the Coalition. In these 2 years, we have responded to 347 distress calls. We have stopped 92 pirate attacks. We have rescued over 10,000 beings. We have provided disaster relief to 28 worlds. The Coalition has exceeded every expectation. Applause filled the chamber. Representatives from hundreds of species celebrated together. What had started as a desperate measure had become the foundation of galactic security, but not everything was perfect. In a quiet corner of the galaxy, trouble was brewing. The Zenthar Dominion, a powerful empire that had refused to join the Assembly, was expanding aggressively. They had conquered 3 independent systems in the past year. Their fleets were growing. Their rhetoric was becoming more hostile. Admiral Nathan Cooper stood in the Coalition Command Center studying reports. Commander Lisa Porter stood beside him, her expression grim. "The Zenthar are moving toward the Riften sector," Lisa said. "That is where the Pelzari live. They are a peaceful species. They have no military to speak of. If the Zenthar attack, it will be a massacre." Nathan studied the tactical map. The Zenthar had 15 fleets in position, over 300 warships. The Coalition had forces nearby, but they were outnumbered. "What are our options?" "We could withdraw," Lisa said quietly. "The Pelzari are not Assembly members. Technically, we have no obligation to defend them." Nathan looked at her. "Do you believe that?" Lisa shook her head. "No, sir. I do not, neither do I," Nathan said. He activated the communication system. "This is Admiral Cooper to all Coalition command staff. Emergency meeting in 1 hour. We have a situation." The meeting brought together officers from a dozen species. Captain Jake Harrison attended via hologram from his ship. Ambassador Claire Watson joined from Centerpoint. Ambassador Telrix represented the Valerian Council. Councilmember Parvesh attended as the Thren representative. Nathan laid out the situation. "The Zenthar Dominion is preparing to invade Pelzari space. The Pelzari have asked for help, but they are not Assembly members. We estimate the Zenthar will attack within 3 days. If we intervene, we will be outnumbered 3 to 1. If we do not intervene, millions of Pelzari will die or be enslaved." The room was silent. Finally, Parvesh spoke. "The Coalition was formed to protect Assembly members. The Pelzari are not members. If we defend them, we may be starting a war with the Zenthar. If we do nothing," Jake said from his hologram, "we will be failing the principles we were founded on. We said we would protect the innocent. We said distress calls would be answered. The Pelzari are calling for help." Claire leaned forward. "The political implications are significant." "But Jake is right. If we ignore this, what does that say about us? That we only protect our members? That membership is required for basic compassion?" Telric spoke up. 2 years ago, my ship was attacked. The humans were not obligated to help us either. We were barely acquaintances. But they came anyway. They saved us. That action led to everything we have built. Sometimes the right choice is not the politically safe choice. Nathan looked around the table. "I need to know where everyone stands. This is not just a human decision. This is a coalition decision. Do we defend the Pelzari knowing it may start a war? Or do we stand aside and let them fall?" One by one, the officers spoke. Some were hesitant. Some were concerned about the risks. But in the end, every single one voted the same way. They would defend the Pelzari. 3 days later, the Coalition fleet arrived in Pelzari space. 40 ships against the Zenthar's 300. The fleet was mixed. Human dreadnoughts alongside Valerian cruisers. Thren destroyers working with Dranthi support vessels. Species that had been strangers 3 years ago now fighting side by side. The Zenthar commander, Supreme Admiral Vex, contacted them immediately. His face appeared on every Coalition ship's view screen. He was large and intimidating, with dark armor and glowing red eyes. "Coalition fleet, you are interfering in Zenthar affairs. The Pelzari system is not under your protection. Leave now or be destroyed," Nathan responded calmly. "Supreme Admiral Vex, the Pelzari have called for help. We are answering that call. We are offering you one chance to withdraw peacefully. Do not make this into a war," Vex laughed. It was a harsh, ugly sound. "You are outnumbered 7 to 1. Your bravery is admirable but foolish. This is your last warning. Leave or die. Nathan looked at his tactical display. The coalition ships were in perfect formation. Every captain knew their role. Every crew was ready. Supreme Admiral, we gave you a chance. What happens next is on you. All coalition ships prepare for combat. Defend the Pelzari. Show them what we stand for. The battle that followed would be studied in military academies for generations. The coalition was outnumbered, but they fought with coordination the Zenthar had never seen. Every species brought their strengths. Human ships hit hard and fast. Valerian vessels provided long-range support and jamming. Thren cruisers executed precise strikes on critical targets. Dranthi support ships kept the fleet supplied and repaired. Jake Harrison led a squadron of mixed ships in a daring attack on the Zenthar command vessel. His group included 2 human destroyers, a Valerian frigate and 3 Thren fighters. They moved as one unit, covering each other, supporting each other. Lisa Porter commanded the defense of the Pelzari homeworld itself, coordinating orbital defenses with ground-based Pelzari forces. She worked with a Pelzari commander named Kelvin, teaching him tactics in real time as the battle raged. The fighting lasted 8 hours. It was brutal and costly. The coalition lost 6 ships. Over 500 personnel died. But they held the line. The Zenthar fleet, shocked by the fierce resistance, finally withdrew. Supreme Admiral Vex retreated, his forces badly damaged. On the Pelzari homeworld, the population watched in amazement as the coalition fleet defended them. They had expected to die or be conquered. Instead, strangers from across the galaxy had come to save them. After the battle, Nathan met with the Pelzari leader, Prime Minister Kelvin. They stood in the government building looking out at the city. Smoke rose from a few damaged areas, but most of the city was intact. Why? Kelvin asked. Why did you do this? We are not part of your assembly. We have nothing to offer you. Why did you risk so much? Nathan was quiet for a moment. Because you called for help. Because it was the right thing to do. Where I come from on Earth, we have a saying, we leave no one behind. That does not just mean our own people. It means anyone who needs help. Kelvin's eyes filled with tears. We owe you everything. You owe us nothing, Nathan said gently. But if you want to honor what happened here, join the assembly. Help us build a galaxy where everyone is protected, where calling for help always gets an answer. 6 months later, the Pelzari officially joined the Galactic Assembly. They brought with them 3 other species from nearby systems who had watched the battle and been inspired. The assembly grew stronger. Back on Earth, Jake sat with his family. His daughter was older now, asking questions about his work. Daddy, why do you go into space? Is it dangerous? Jake thought about how to answer. Yes, it is dangerous sometimes. But I go because some people need help. And if I can help them, I should. Like a superhero? His daughter asked. Jake smiled. Sort of, but not just me. Lots of people work together. People from Earth and people from other planets. We all help each other. His daughter thought about that. That is good. I want to help people too when I grow up. Amy caught Jake's eye and smiled. This was what they were fighting for. A future where children wanted to help others. Where cooperation was normal. Where the strong protected the weak. On Centerpoint, Claire Watson stood with Ambassador Telrix watching the sunset through the observation window. It has been quite a journey, she said. 3 years ago, you sent a distress call. Now look at what we have built. Telrix nodded. I think about that day often. When my ship was dying and I made the choice to call the humans. I was scared. I did not know what you would do. What changed your mind? Claire asked. Desperation, mostly, Telrix admitted with a small laugh, but also hope. I had heard the stories about humans. About your violence, yes, but also about your loyalty. Your strange sense of honor. I hoped that if we called, you would answer. And you did. We always will, Claire said. That is the promise we made. Not just to the assembly, but to ourselves. We will answer the call. Every time. Admiral Nathan Cooper made his final broadcast from the Indomitable. After 3 years of service, he was retiring. Returning to Earth, going home. But before he left, he wanted to say something to all the beings who had served with him. To every member of the Assembly Defense Coalition. To every species that has joined this great endeavor. I want to thank you. When we started this, I did not know if it would work. I did not know if different species could truly work together, trust each other, fight for each other. You have shown me that they can.